Hi, I'm Karen Hobson, and I've been working here at Garland Nursery for over 30 years. I've also been an avid gardener for going on 50 years. I've been working here in many capacities. I do the plant doctor work, and I've worked in every area of the nursery. And today I'm going to talk to you about bringing birds into your garden. They bring a lot of delight with their song and color, and they need all the help we can give them. We're going to talk a little bit about what they need. Things like they are going to need a place to live with good cover and shelter. They're going to need water, and they're going to need food. And we're going to talk about some plants that will encourage them to live more in your yard so that you can enjoy their beautiful flowers. Okay, so we're going to talk about bringing the birds into your garden, and birds will definitely want to have layers of plants, so it's a good idea to have trees with an upper canopy so that they can fly away from predators like cats and things like that, and then a lower level of shrubs where they can get cover and a lot of food sources, and then layers of perennials and ground covers, and all of those different layers can provide food at different times of year. Good idea also to have flowers that bloom in various times of the season. So you'd like to have some flowers every month of the year if possible, and luckily in Oregon that is a possibility. Also, I highly encourage you to plant several natives through your garden, because native plants are what birds are adapted to the most, and many of our cultivated varieties will also provide food for them. But the natives are what they are seeking the most, and so incorporating the prettier natives is a great idea for your landscape. We're going to talk first about shrubs. I assume that you can plant some trees. Fall would be your best time to do that. But in the shrub level of your garden, some of the natives that you could incorporate would be a plant something like Oregon grape. Oregon grape is an evergreen shrub. It has beautiful red new growth on it. It has yellow flowers in the spring. And then it also provides berries that are kind of grape-like blueberries in the summer to fall that the birds can eat going into winter. So not only does it have lots of food for the birds, it also has a little bit of prickliness to the leaves, which gives them cover in winter storms or away from any predators. Another possible native that you could incorporate would be snowberry. Snowberry is a deciduous shrub. It does lose its leaves, but it has tiny little pink flowers that are followed by very large white berries, and these are very long held on the shrub all the way through winter, and then when they're very hungry, the birds will eat the snowberry last. But that's when they're really desperate for food, so it's good to have something that'll get them through until the spring flowers come and give them other sources of food again. There are cultivated varieties also of some of these natives. This is a cultivated variety of the snowberry that is dwarf, and it has pink berries rather than the white berries, and it is absolutely covered with them. So this one only gets about 3 feet tall and will have an enormous quantity of berries that are very showy in the winter. And again, the birds will eat them by the end of winter. This particular variety is one called Candy, and there is a white dwarf one called Gallus. Other plants that you might be familiar with that have winter berries are things like holly or pyracantha. Some people might know cotoneaster. But there's a lot of shrubs that have berries in the winter, and that's when the birds are quite desperate to get food. So all the berries that we can provide for them is going to be helpful. A plant that a lot of people don't realize have berries is a barberry. This is a beautiful variety called Orange Rocket. It gets to be about 5 feet tall and very vertical growth, and it has tiny little yellow flowers, but it's followed by hundreds and hundreds of football-shaped bright red berries, and those berries are a favorite for birds to eat. They usually will completely devour mine by the end of January, but it's definitely a critical time for them to get food. The fall color on this shrub is also absolutely stunning. It'll turn fiery red. This is an upright variety, and there are many upright varieties in either burgundy or orange or gold. But there's also low mounding barberries, things like bagatelle, which is a low-growing variety, only gets 2 feet tall and about 3 feet wide. It also gets the red berries. And then there's a golden variety. This one is golden nugget. It only gets a couple feet tall, and it also will get the really cute red berries through there. This one turns orange in the winter, and the bagatelle will turn bright red in the fall, so that you get incredible fall colors before your berries feed the birds the rest of the winter. Another plant that people often are not aware of is called aronia. There are a couple of species of aronia. One that is actually native to the Northwest is Aronia melanocarpa, which is a black chokeberry, and it has black berries in the fall that the birds love, and brilliant red fall color. So it's a very showy fall color. This shrub gets to be 3 to 5 feet tall and is a knockout every fall. There's a taller version, which is called Aronia brilliantissima. Both of these get white flowers in the spring. This one gets red berries, whereas this one had black berries. And then they both get that fiery red fall color. But the red-berried one gets to be 8 to 12 feet tall. But they're wonderful shrubs to incorporate in your landscape. Very good for the birds. And then one more wonderful shrub for winter berries is Calicarpa or beautyberry. This is covered with its flowers at this time of year, and they're tiny little pink flowers. But come fall, it will get absolutely stunning fuchsia purple flowers that cover the whole shrub. We have these in every size. The shrub will get to be about 8 feet tall if you let it, but since it blooms in the summer, you can prune it to any size you want, probably 4 feet or up to 8 feet. And it is a knockout with berry color, and the birds will be very thankful for you planting it in your yard for them. The perennials, the birds are going to appreciate the seeds on, and there are a lot of native perennials that you would want to incorporate. I'm going to be talking about more ornamental cultivars, but it's a real good idea to have butterfly weed, which has seed heads they're used to. And any native flowers like columbine and things like that would be a good thing to have. Since they're not in bloom, I'm not going to talk about those, but remember to incorporate native. Some of the ornamental varieties of plants that will also draw birds would include asters. And asters will give you late summer through fall beautiful flowers and wonderful seed heads for the birds. One variety that I like very much is one called Purple Dome. It is a low-growing purple variety. The bees love it for the nectar, and then the birds will love the little seed heads on it. So this one will get to be only 1 to 2 feet tall and make a perfect dome of purple flowers. Another wonderful variety for a different kind of flower would be the Prince Calico aster. It has beautiful burgundy foliage, tons of tiny pink flowers, and then little tufts of seed heads on there that will be wonderful for the birds later in the season. They bloom for quite a long period through the late summer, and that's a time when birds are really stocking up to make it either for their flight back south or else to overwinter through the season here. So asters are a wonderful addition to your garden. Another great one for our climate would be the coneflowers. There is a native coneflower, but that is hard to find. But there are many cultivated varieties that come in absolutely gorgeous colors. This is a variety that's called Sombrero Sangrita with beautiful orangey red flowers. This is a beautiful golden variety called Cheyenne Spirit. They come in the traditional more purplish pink color or shades of white. There's many varieties of these, and they have this wonderful cone in the center that's excellent for butterflies, bees, and later in the season, the seeds of this are a favorite of many different birds. So when all of these plants are done blooming, be certain to let the birds get the seed before you deadhead these plants. So I try to leave seed heads up on a plant like this all the way until the end of when every seed is gone, and if that's late in the winter, then so be it. But giving them a source of seeds is a great thing, and it's often better for the plant to cut it down later in the season. I have found with the coneflowers that if I leave them up all winter, they actually come back better for me than if I cut them down in late fall. So sometimes that improves your ability to grow the plant in your yard. Another great plant for seed heads is Joe Pye weed. This is one called Gateway. This will actually get to be 5 feet to maybe 6 feet tall, so it's a very large perennial. It has big clusters of kind of a mauve purplish flower, just a very dusky color. It's wonderful for butterflies, but after the butterflies have gotten all they choose from it, the little seed heads on this are a real favorite of birds, and the actual structure of the seed head is very good for winter interest in your garden, just for the beautiful outline of that seed head in your garden. So I left those up in my garden all the way through winter and never cut them down until about February, just because they were so interesting looking. They have very strong stems and they hold up very well. Another great summer bloomer are the Coreopsis, and they can come in brilliant yellow, which this is a variety called Zagreb. Unfortunately it hasn't opened yet, but this is going to have 100 yellow flowers that are just bright yellow all over the plant. There's a light pale yellow one called Moonshine. That's a beautiful one. They come in red. They come in bicolors. There's many different varieties. The common name on Coreopsis is pickseed, which it definitely has hundreds and hundreds of little seeds that the birds will love. A lot of birds like finches and things like that will love the seed on these. So again, if you can leave the seed heads up until they've eaten all the seeds, that would be ideal, and then tidy them up late in the fall or early winter. One last one I'd like to mention would be Solidago. This is a beautiful yellow blooming perennial. It is totally covered with brilliant yellow sprays of flowers, and the butterflies love this one, bees will like it, but the seeds on this are excellent for late season bird interest, and it's a beautiful structural plant in your garden and good for a very long season of color. All of these perennials are going to be very good for feeding the birds through the summer months. There were a lot of spring bloomers that would be feeding them at this time of year with their seed heads. So make sure you don't over trim your plants so that they have a chance to get some of the seeds out of them. Once most of these plants have finished blooming, it's a good idea to start feeding the birds in the winter. That's when they're the most desperate for getting food. So it's always nice to get a bird feeder out there to continue with their food. They also like to have suet in the winter. Sure, you give them a source of water, and like we mentioned in an earlier segment, it's good to have lots of shrubs and layers of plants in your garden to give them cover through harsh weather. We'd be happy to help you with finding all the plants that will bring as many birds as you'd love to see in your garden.
In order to thank you for taking the time to watch our videos, and because it's Pollinator Week, we want to offer you a special discount this weekend. You can get 20% off all echinacea, also known as coneflower, if you come into the nursery and use the phrase "coneflowers are good pollinators" at the register or say something similar. We just want to know that you took the time to watch the video. Again, the discount is only valid today, Friday, June 26th through Sunday, June 28th. Thank you.